Do you ever wonder, truly, if maybe we've got some things wrong as a nation and individually? You know, we have been on a pathway of self-destruction for a while. And you can say a lot of things about why that is, and there are many. But if you ignore the fact that it is our naivete at best, and our pride, greed, selfishness, and the list goes on, in the worst case. We cannot fix this country. We cannot move on. We cannot bridge the gap, or the gaps at this point, unless we have a true middle. We have true leadership. And I mean, not leadership like, dictatorial leadership. I'm talking about visionary leadership, that's servant leadership, that cares more about the people than their own legacy and their own power. Because with that comes real humility. And with real humility comes wisdom and courage and the vision to actually lead. Who among you are qualified? Either qualified to be where you're at right now, or qualified to rise up and lead from a bigger position? Who among you? Who among you has the vision, the intestinal fortitude, the humility, the vision to see where we're going, where we've been, and how the pieces need to fit together, and how to get there doing it? Who has the courage to do that? Or are we going to remain chained to our counterfeits, increasing our complexities, locked in our fear and confusion, and unable to see the consequences of our pride? I would like to see this country not just talk about being something, but actually be it. I don't expect perfection. What I would hope is that in our humbling, that we might be humble enough to remain teachable and grow, and to become something much more authentic and real. But right now, we've got a problem. And it's more than just leadership. We have a problem in our citizenship. We have a problem within our citizenry. We have a problem within ourselves. And we are all going to have to deal with that problem if we are going to move forward as a nation. You cannot continue to elect leaders based upon them telling you what you want to hear. They will either lie to you or they will try to do what it is that you want them to do and cause even more complexity and chaos. First, you need to see what you need to see about you and about your nation. You need to be informed, not programmed. You need to be educated, right? Not brainwashed. You need to take responsibility for your own individual lives, day to day, week to week, month to month, and year to year, in the present. You need to take responsibility for what the future will be by doing what is necessary in the here and now. If you're unwilling to do that, you are unwilling to do what's necessary to maintain this republic. If you're unwilling to be a morally and ethically grounded people in truth, you're unworthy to have this republic. If you are unwilling to forgive one another for your failings and come together humbly and work together in a common middle ground, you are unworthy to remain a nation. Look, what causes the disintegration of the social contract is you. When you jettison the foundation stones on which you build things, including this nation, and opt for counterfeits of it, or you're deceived into uprooting them and replacing them with counterfeits, thinking you're doing the right thing, you're on the path to destruction. You see, built into this republic, this representative democracy by its founders, whether they knew it or not, was a self-destruct sequence. And that self-destruct sequence was built into the very fabric of your system. And that if you ever en masse departed from truth, or seeking the truth, or being humble enough to realize you're corruptible, and you don't know the truth. If you ever departed from the things that allowed this country to be what it was, and have an opportunity to be something greater, your corruption, your pride, your fear, your confusion, your divisions, right? Your lack of taking responsibility for it and for your own lives and your own actions would start the countdown within the system for its self-destruction with you. Now, you can laugh at that notion. You can do what many generations have done, and that is learn the hard way by ignoring the warnings of those that have always been raised up here to warn you. But you will not be able to hide the consequences of your denial. You can't hide it now. You're going to have to deal with it. And you can't have it both ways anymore. Your binary simulacrum, right, doesn't work. It's corrupted. Your systems are broken and corrupted. Your 7 spheres of influence, from the home and family structure and the basics of worldview, which upheld that, all the way around the horn to government, it's broken. It's ineffectual. And what was your strength has now become a millstone around your neck, and it is pulling you down. That is what I mean by built within this system was a self-destruct. When you depart from truth and love, and even the notions of it, and then redefine it according to what is right in your own eyes, you can cry out for justice all day long. But what you do is create the conditions not only for you being unjust, but injustices to be done to you. You create chaos, lawlessness, avarice, and hubris. You create something that is duplicitous and that is prostituted and is dangerous to you. What are you going to do? Because what you're doing now and what you've been doing will not suffice. You cannot try to rewind the clock and pretend like these things are not true and you're not in the predicament you're actually in. You will only hasten your destruction. You can only move forward as well once you've admitted your predicament in the present. What are you going to do? Because your clock is running out. Your consequences are scaling upwards. And the self-destruct sequence has already been enacted by you. Leaders and citizens alike. Public and private sector alike. Not just your enemies. You're going to either be humbled or you're going to be humiliated and destroyed as a nation by your own choices and your own actions, which opens the door even further to those whom you have emboldened with your entropy, with your duplicity, with your arrogance, and with your ignorance to help you there faster. And you may be saying, who are you to say any of these things? Well, you're quite right. Who am I? Who am I to say these things to you? Well, if you knew, that means you could see who and what I am. And you wouldn't have asked that question in the first place. You see, you don't know because you don't know who you are. And because you don't know who you are, you're blind to what, not only what you do, but to who others are and what they're capable of. And that saddens me. because you are capable of so much more than what you've prostituted yourself into. And I'm not willing to accept it. You may, but I'm not. And I'm not alone. And I'm not talking about politics. I'm talking about something much bigger. If I didn't love you, I wouldn't say these things. If I didn't care, I wouldn't take the time in the middle of the night to record this. You see, I don't live my life according to popularity contests, polls, likes, and follow me's. You may, and that's your choice. But you have to understand, nothing here is permanent. Nothing in the temporal lasts beyond its temporality. It's finite for a reason. There's a reason why the largest green spaces in your cities are cemeteries. And there's a reason when you're standing in those cemeteries, they look a whole lot like your downtowns, your cities. Same thing from above looking down on them. That's because it's temporary. But where temporary things are, they only point to something that is much greater than the temporal. And the temporal is temporary for a reason, because it will be replaced with that which isn't. Now the question is, which one are you going to choose? Which one have you chosen? And are you going to stay with your way and make your temporary even shorter and lose both the here and now and the forever after? Or are you going to humble yourselves and seek something greater than just the momentary short term? Every empire, every nation ever established thought it was never going to end until it did. Your founding fathers didn't think that this country would last as long as it did. But they never thought it would last for an eternity. That's self-deception, it's delusion, and it's wrong. You will not last forever. Nothing here does. You will either be transformed into something that will, or you will become just like those plots in the cemetery and have to learn the hard way that this is but the shadow of the real. And when the real becomes the eclipser of the shadow, and the here and now becomes something much greater than just the temporal, you will have to see everything that your denial in the here and now, your pride, your fear, your confusion, your ignorance, your greed, your avarice, and your hubris created, not just here, but all around the world. And that will be your starting point for forever. Now you can laugh and say, well, I don't believe in anything beyond this. That's fine. You're still going to lose this too. That's your predicament. Whether you believe in anything beyond this or not, well, for you it's irrelevant, right? You bet the house on the temporary. You would think that if you bet the house on the temporary, you'd be wise enough to not do the very things that's quickening the end of it. Wouldn't you? After all, it's all you have. But you see, that's where your pride runs up against reality. It's your pride that causes your temporal to slip out of your fingers that much faster. What are you going to do with that paradox when this is all you have? You see, you're either going to be humbled or you're going to be humiliated and destroyed and lose this too. That is a problem for you now, isn't it? But it shows exactly what pride gives birth to, which is avarice and hubris, doesn't it? You see, those of you that prefer your lies and that prefer denial, that's fine. But you can't outrun and escape your temporality. In fact, all you can do in trying to do that is make it go faster until you have no more temporal left. Now think about it.
Down in these times where the confusion grows, when you're not sure if you got a friend, or your friends or your foes. Yeah, when the wind starts a-blowing, yeah, and you wonder if you're gonna make it through. Just get on your knees now. Lord, I'll show you how to make it